Hello and welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about data types, and let's just dive right into it. So here I have the index.html file we created previously. I just need to create another JS file, so I'm going to call it data types. Let's just say, in naming a file, you could also put an underscore. Data types .js. Okay, so now we have this file. Let's link it with our HTML file. So let's have data types, data underscore types, and we have it there. So now we can see that what we were getting as a result of the things in the variables.js before are no longer there. So okay, cool. So now I'm just going to expand this. Let's get some breathing space. Awesome. So now we don't need this. What we need is the data types.js. Awesome. So a value in JavaScript is always of a certain type. Okay. For example, we could have a string, we could have a number, and we can put any type in a variable. Okay, a variable can, as we saw in the last class, we had a variable that was a string, and we had a variable that was that has a value of number, like the age variable. The my age variable had the value of a number. Also, we have two broad types of data types. We have the primitive data types, which are also known as the non-object data type. So just think of primitive data type as, actually, let me type it right here. So we have the primitive data type. So primitive data types are any data type that is basically essentially having a single value. Is a single value data type, and it is non an object. I mean, it is not an object, so it is a non-object data type. Non-object data type. So that tells you that we also have the non-primitive, right? Non-primitive data type. Okay, data types. So which is mainly the object data type. So okay, so today we're just going to be diving into the primitive data type, and actually let me just be commenting this out. So we have the string data type. So data type could be string, and it could be number, and it could be BigInt, a BigInt, and we could have, let's comment that out. We could also have what we call the null. We could have undefined. Okay, and we could also have a symbol. Symbol. Okay, so then the non-primitive. So these are the primitive. Okay, these are the primitive data type. Let's comment that out. Primitive data type. The non-primitive is essentially objects. Non-primitive is essentially objects. Actually, let's just say objects. Okay, so we have the primitives and the non-primitive data type, and so now we are just going to be looking at the primitive, because the objects data type is really a big topic. So I will be talking about that in a separate class. Okay, so let me just write an example of, to just indicate to you data types. So let's say let item. By now you know what we are doing. We are declaring a variable. Let's say let item equals telephone, and we could also say something like item equals okay, actually, you know what, let's say item equals telephone, and then let's say item equals something like a number 10. You understand? And I'm doing this intentionally now because I want to show something to you, okay, about JavaScript. So this is valid in JavaScript. And quickly, before I say what I want to say, so let's say console.log item. Let's see what we get inside there. Now, previously we had item to be telephone. Now we have item to be what? 10, a value. I mean, a value of 10, right? Now let's see what we have inside item. And it says 10. Why is that? Why is it no longer telephone? So programming languages that allow such things, you know, such as JavaScript, you know, they are said to be dynamically typed, which means there are data types, right? But variables are not bound to any of them. Here, right, we had the type to be string, and now we have it to be what? To be number. And that is completely allowed, okay? That is completely allowed. Anyway, so let's look at string as a let's say introduction to string, essentially, because string also, it's a very big topic. We're going to do our best to, you know, look at some major parts of string today. So let's say let size equals what size am I wearing? Let's just say medium. It doesn't really matter. So let's say let's first name. I'm just going to declare a bunch of variables. Now you this is I don't know if we heard that. That is Siri talking. Anyway, so let's say let's first name equals Hanifowoshe. Let's say it's equals something like let's use a template literal. I wear size cloth. Okay, now if I let me add one more thing. Let's like counts equals let's just say 4,000. Doesn't really matter, we're just learning here. Okay, now we have a variable here. This is a string, and strings are usually enclosed in a double quote, right? This is also a string. First name equals this. Actually, let me change this. It doesn't really matter, but I like to use Reddington. I don't know how many of us know. I don't know how many of us know who Reddington is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So we have this. So if I console.log let's say it's first. Let's see what is inside say it. So the console, let's see what we have, and we can guess, right? It says I wear medium cloth. And how do we arrive at that, right? It says it. So I wear size clothes. This is in JavaScript. So when we use these backticks, they are different from double quote, and I'm using this to illustrate something to us, right? Because if you cannot use backticks just anyhow you like to indicate a string, right? So if you are using backticks, it's an indication that in JavaScript you are trying to append a variable within the string, right? This is a variable that we declared here, and now we can see how we used it here. So this is a string, is a value string. These are strings. This is also a string. Even though this looks like a number, it is not a number. So long it is inside a double quote, it is a string, okay? And that is different from when we say let's C's, let's just say that, okay? Equals 4,000. Now, if we check the type of this one, it will be a number. You can see, right? It is even in a different color code, right? So this is a number. Now, if I do something like, let me show you. So if I say console.log type of like counts. Okay, so this is valid. So if I say console.log type of like count, okay, so I'm going to see, right, it's a string. This like count here is a string. It's not a number, okay? It's a string, and that is valid JavaScript code, okay? And the same thing you will see, right? If you check the type of all of this, these are strings, these are strings, these are strings. Only this is number. So let me just do that so you can see. Console.log, let's say type of like C, and if we go to the console, we can see it's a number. Okay, that is it's a number. So now I like to also show us something that is common with strings and some other data types. So JavaScript allows us to work with primitives such as strings and number, as if they were objects. Okay, and objects generally, although again we are not doing objects yet, but I'm just trying to illustrate to you why this matter. So objects is capable of storing multiple values, as properties. Okay, and one of the best things about objects is that we can store a function as one of its properties, and in which case we are going to say we have a method. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly illustrate to you. Let's my movie star equals let's use name equals let's use Harold Finch, and we have a comma. Then let's say let's have a method here, say something. That's going to be is a function, right, within an object. So let's say something. Let's just console.log. What are we logging? Anyway, let's just log something. Okay, let's just say log a string and say I like JavaScript. Okay, I like JavaScript. Okay, so now if we come here, nothing will happen yet because we have not called any console.log anything here. So let's console.log console.log movie, actually it's not movie, my movie star. Okay, and then let's look at the name property. And now if we come here, we can see, right, it's Harold Finch. Okay, it's Harold Finch. So also we can call the my movie star method that is basically say something. Actually, I didn't like to write that. I mean to correct that. So say something, and I'm just going to call that method, and we can see, right. So that is how how method works. Okay, method is just a property. It is a function that is a property of an object. Okay. And why is this important? Why am I even showing you this? Okay, so the reason is because there are many built-in objects in JavaScript, you understand, and they work with strings and numbers and some of these data types. So I'm just going to show you examples of some of these built-in methods and properties. So I'm going to say something like this: console.log I'm going to log first name, and I'm going to check the length property of first name. Let's see what that gives us. As you can see, right, it says 10, and you can see where is first name. This is first name, right? The name is Reddington. If I change this name to say something like John, now length is basically telling us the length of the characters in this string. Okay, now I change it to John. Now the length should be what? It should be 4, right? And we can see, right, it is 4. So we also have different methods that we can use. Let's just comment this out. Let's say methods of strings. So those are basically inbuilt methods. So we can do things like console.log let's say something like, and if you start typing the particular variable, now I have size. If you put this dot, this is a dot notation, right? So if you put this dot, you can see if you are using a really good IDE like Visual Studio Code, I mean most IDE does that. Okay, so Anyway, it doesn't have to be really good. So you can see different methods, inbuilt methods that we can use with this data type string, right? So now I'm just going to do, let's start with that top one, you know, character at let's say position 1. So you can guess what that is going to give us, right? So you can see, right, this is size, and now we are checking what is in position 1, medium. And you can see someone might say, oh wait, position 1 is 1, right? No, it's not, right? So it's usually starting with 0, so it starts with 0. So M is at position 0, E is at position 1. Okay, all right, so that is correct. There is no error there. So let's do another, maybe 2 more. There are lots of them, but we won't try all of them. So let's just say something like first name. Let's do slice. Let's say slice. Let's say 1, and see what that gives us. So basically, we are slicing from the position 1, index 1, actually, not well, it's still position. So index 1 to the last index. So this is index 1, this is index 0. Now if we change this to, let's say I change this to harrowed now, and I check the position 1, it will be what? It will be harrowed, slice position 1. Basically it's slicing out this, and we can use this slice in really fun ways. Okay, we can also say something like console.log first name, and we can say slice, we can put say 1, 2, and we want to stop at 3. Okay, so let's see what we get. Oh, what is that? First name is not defined. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. Okay, now that should fix it. You can see, right? So we are basically getting the characters from index 1, and we are stopping at index 3. Okay, now let's go back to first name. First name is Harold, right? So this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, L 4, 6, 5. Sorry. So basically we are not including index 3. We are basically telling the computer, the compiler, we are not going to include this index 3, right? So cool, awesome, that works perfectly. So there are many other methods that we can use. We have the includes, the split, and last index of. So you can try some of those. Okay, but the one I would like to try now again is let's try this one. Let's say console.log first name again. Now let's try the split method on it, and we're just going to split it by the empty space, basically splitting it where there is nothing. And you can guess what that is going to be. It's going to give us an array. Okay, and as you can see, it's giving us an array of all the characters in this variable. Okay, and that is where I'm going to stop this one now. I'm going to share this this code with you, and I'm going to put a link in the description. But now I want to go quickly to numbers, the number data type. Okay, so let's go to the number data type, and basically number represents both integers and floating numbers. Okay, so we could have let's n, say let n equals 60. I mean, it can be anything, it doesn't really matter. So now we can then say n equals, it's no longer equals 60, now it is 60, let's say 0.789, doesn't matter. And then essentially you know what is going on here, right? So these are all valid JavaScript. So this is an integer, and this is what? This is a float. So let's do something. Let's just check what the value of n is. I believe you should know that by now, right? So n is going to be what? It's going to be that float, right? Since we reassign it. Okay, so that is really easy. Awesome. So let's do some number stuff here, So let's say let's num equals say 1 divided by 0, and I believe you can guess what that will lead us to. It's going to lead us to an infinite value. So let's console.log num to the console. Let's see what we get. As you can see, right, it's infinite. We should not divide anything by 0. Okay, so also if you try to divide a string by 0 by a number, you will get let's see. So let's what should we do now? We have first name as a string, right? So let's say testing or something, anything, doesn't matter. Let's testing equals to first name divided by 2, for example. Okay, and let's console.log testing to the console. Let's see what we get. You can get, right, it's not a number. So that is because string is not a number, right? We can't divide something by string, right? So because this is a string, you know, right? Because we declared it as a string at the top, right? So it's not a number. So if we will try to do something like type of actually let's console.log type of what is that, testing, and let's see what we get. And it says what? It's a number. It says it's a number. Okay, so do you know why that is a number? Because not a number is weirdly a number. So don't ask me how. So that is one of the weird things in JavaScript. I mean, this is actually not really weird. It's not that weird. There are some that are way weirder than that. So not a number is also a number. Okay, so if you check, also let's do this. Let me show you this. So if you check type of what was that thing that gave us infinity? Num. Okay, so let's say type of console.log type of num. Let's see what we get. Okay, you can see, right, it's also a number. Infinity is also a number. Okay, so basically this is good because when this code is running and you know, it hits this kind of thing, the compiler will not the code will not just stop. Okay, it will continue because the not a number is also a number. Okay, so yeah, that is I thought that is really good for us to know. So also there are inbuilt methods that we can use to manipulate number data type. So let's say something like it's crazy, you know, looking for variable name, but anyway, let's say desnum equals we have a variable name called n, right? So let's say to fixed. So this is one of the methods we have that we can use on numbers. So basically we use this to fix something to a particular decimal place. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, doesn't matter, we still have space, but let me comment out this so we have some space to see this one that we're going to type. Okay, so now I'm going to say console.log desnum. Let's see what that gives us. You can see, right, it gives us 60.79, and let's see what exactly do we have for num. N, right? N was 60.789, right? Is a floating number, but now we have it as 60.79 rounded up to 60.79 because we chose to have it fixed to 2 decimal place, right? Cool. So another thing we can, there are different methods. Okay, let's say something like let's say int only, just to show you something. Okay, so we are going to say pass int, and we are going to throw in our n value there. Okay, n variable, and if you console.log this, console.log, we should see int only. We should see just the number, right? Because n is what? We have n to be 60.789, right? Now we pass the ints. We are not interested in the decimal points, right? So we're only interested in the ints, and that is what we got there, right? Awesome. So we can do a few other things with numbers. Let me just do one more actually. So let's say what should we do? So we can say something like using the inbuilt number method and properties to convert a value to their corresponding type. So we can say, let me say something like tests, or doesn't really matter. It's crazy, looking for variable names. So let's say num. Then we have a string. Let's just say 678. Doesn't matter. And then we can say console.log test num. Let's see what that gives us. Okay. So you can guess, right? It's going to convert it to the corresponding type. So this is a string. When you use the number method on a string like this, it's going to convert whatever number you have in there to what? To a number. Whatever value you have in there to a number. But what if you don't? Okay, let's even make it fun. Let's add some string here, some gibberish, HS, HD. Let's see if it's still going to give us this thing. Let's see. It says not a number, interestingly, right? Not a number, because we have this gibberish there. But we can make this work actually. Okay, I think the method I was looking for is not this number. I think it's pass hints. Yeah, it's pass hints. So this one is still going to give us the number back. So, but let me change it instead of this. Okay, let me just comment out this one. So let's comment out this. Let's now do this. Instead of num, let's pass hints. So as the name implies, we are trying to only show interest in reading the integer that are inside the string. Okay, so if we check it now, it's going to give us, you can see, right? And let me change this number so that you can see that it's actually coming from here. You can see, right? It's 555, right? So it's going to pass all the possible integers that are within this string. Okay, but if we have something like, let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have something like let's say there are no single integer in this string. So it's going to be what? It's going to be, let's change this one, test G or something, it doesn't matter. And let's change this to test G. Again, I know that we need to make variable names descriptive, but here let's just test. You see, right? Say not a number. So basically we are trying to pass ints in a string that does not have any number, any possible integer, right? So it's going to return not a number. And that's about numbers. So let's just look at BigInt quickly. BigInt is in JavaScript. It's basically, so it is used to represent arbitrary precision integers, like really long numbers. Okay, and actually there is that number is 97. So there is a number that's, after we pass that number, we can't really express it with an integer. Okay, and I'm typing it here, 9174 7199254740991. I think, yeah, I have it right written down here. Okay, so BigInt. Let's make another line for BigInt. As the name implies, right? Big integer, BigInt. Okay. So basically, in JavaScript, the number type cannot, confidently represent integer values that is larger than this value. Actually, this value, 992. Okay, so cannot be confidently represented. So it just like if we have something like this, let's say console.log let's just type some really long number. Okay, you will see what's going to happen. Now you can see, right, it just gave us some, it's not very precise, even though it gives us the value in some way, multiplied by e raised to power 31, but it's not really precise. So let me remove some of this console.log we don't need anymore, so we can have some space to see what we are doing right here. So let's see how much space we we get. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So, but basically, if you want to represent this, all you just need to do, if you are still adamant in actually seeing what this thing is, the way it is, you just need to add n after it, and then you should get it right here. You can see, right? You will get it. It will be passed, and the number will be precise. Okay. So there's not really much about that, other than what I just told you. So now let's quickly look at the Boolean in JavaScript. So Boolean is essentially true, false kind of thing. Okay. The Boolean type, it has only two values, and they are either true or false. If it is not true, it will be false. So we can say something like let is holder. Who is holder? I don't know. I'm just throwing out something here. So is holder equals true. Okay. Let's say let is coming equals false. Okay. So now let's do something. Let's say let is greater. Now this is not going to be explicit. So let's just say is equals 3 greater than 10. Now ask yourself, is 3 actually greater than 10? Is it truly greater than 10? That is false, right? So you expect to see false if we console.log this to the console, right? Greater. Excuse me. Okay, so now if we console.log, you can see, right? So this is false. So this data type for the data type for these variables are essentially it's essentially Boolean, okay, either true or false. So also in the same vein, if you console.log is order to the console, this is going to be true, this is going to be false, okay, and it is as simple as that. Okay, so and we also have the inbuilt method, Boolean method for Boolean data type. So if we say something like is home equals Boolean, so we can get the Boolean, anything 1 upward will be true. Okay, and if we say let's console.log is home, it's just going to tell us that this is what? This is true, because 1 is true. If we change this to 0, it will be what? It will be false, right? And if we change it to any other number, it will be true, right? Right? Awesome. So that is that about that. And quickly let's look at the null data type. And null data type is it's just a special value type in JavaScript which represents I don't even know what it represents. So it represents nothing. Okay, it represents nothing. So you can say something like, let school be null. Okay, so if school is null, it means that that value does not exist anywhere. If we say console.log school, it's just going to tell us that this value does not exist. Okay, you can see it's null. Okay, so if we say console.log type of school, is an object, interestingly. Okay, null is an object. Okay, and we are going to be talking, that is one of the things we are going to be talking about when we get to objects. Okay, so that's why I chose to talk about objects in a separate class. Okay, awesome. So the last one that I would like to talk about here in this class is undefined, the undefined data type. And again, undefined is also used to basically represent that there was no assignments, even though we have a variable exist, but we don't have any assignments for it. You understand? Like if we say let's house, and we just stop there, and then now we are asking to see the value of house in the console. Now how are we going to get that since we didn't put anything there? Okay, so it says undefined, right? And interestingly, that is also a data type in JavaScript. That is also a data type in JavaScript. So really, yeah, I would like to stop here today. We are going to also talk about the primitive data type known as symbol. The one that is the last one in the list I gave you right here. that is because it's something that has to do with I will be able to explain it better when we get to objects. Okay, so today we are going to call it a day, and I guess you can get this code. I'm going to put a link in the description, and yeah, you can. I may add a little more methods to the string just so you have a good understanding of where is that, the string methods. Okay, oh, I comment them out. So yeah, so this one, before I post it to the description, and then you can play with them, and this one also. So you can also play with different other methods, and awesome. So I guess that will be the end for today, and I will catch you in the next class. Thank you and bye.